stepped away. He's a tremendous football coach, and I know he'll be missed. But I know he's coming back, so in a year. But as far as Sean's concerned, very aggressive play caller, always ready. He did a great job for us, and because he did a great job for us, he earned the Buffalo job. Well, more so than anything else, it's one of the basic plays in the league. More so than anything else, and I know right now we're having discussions on it in the competition committee, and we'll continue to grind through that because it is a discussion that will most certainly come up once we get to the meetings when we get to Arizona. Well, I don't know if people are necessarily against it as much as people are trying to see what the ramifications are going to be going forward. But you have to have a full discussion, and that's what we're looking forward to once we get to Arizona, is have a full discussion with the entire membership. Well, I do know that at one time when we were kicking field goals, there was pushing and there was concern about the injury, the potential for injuries there. So again, we still have to have that discussion before anything's decided.
When you went to Washington, you were about a month between jobs. Was that enough time to kind of pause, reflect, think about what you wanted to do differently, or would more time have been helpful?
Darren, for me, I was set. I wanted to coach, and I made that very clear. I made it clear 2 days after I was let go. I wanted to get back into coaching. I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. It's what I do, and I wanted to make sure that people understood that. I'm still where I am as far as coaching is concerned.
Right, but you didn't feel like you needed any kind of break to reflect or anything like that?
Well, I had a month total, and for me, I felt I really did. I mean, Darren, I really like what I do, and I still feel right now, doing the things that we do, where we are as a football team, getting to where I really believe we have our head above water now. I feel very confident going forward.
Ron, being that you feel good there, you have such an unproven quarterback. What do you think of how he's done that? Did you feel like you guys?
Well, if you go back to his junior year coming out, this is a guy that had some very good grades on him as far as being draftable. I believe if you go back and you ask some scouts, what their grades are, you're going to see some pretty high grades. That's what I did. I looked at our people's grades, and we had some very good grades on him. So we feel very confident in his ability. Secondly, things that he showed us over a period of time. He played a lot in the preseason. That was something we did on purpose. We wanted to see him because we liked him that much. During the season, when you watch the practice tape and he just had some moments that just showed you, he's done a really good job. And then getting the opportunity against Dallas. I thought he came out and played the type of game that you're looking for as far as the quarterback's concerned. He's got a tremendous skill set, got a good arm, the kind of arm that you do look for. That's one of the things. And again, he's not our starter. He's coming in as a QB1. He'll get a great opportunity to be our starter. But we do want to find a veteran quarterback. We have Taylor Heineke, that's a free agent, that we've got to work through that as well, and then we'll see what happens from there. Well, I think for the most part, Eric has an idea of where he wants to go and how he wants to go through it. These next month and a half will be very important for him and our offensive staff as far as putting it together. He's got all of his material, everything's ready to roll. So now it's a matter of once we get past this week, next week, getting started and getting those things done. Not really knowing Brian. Other than the fact that, they did a nice job with their roster. They had some really good players when they got there. They added some really good pieces, did a nice job in the draft. He didn't call the offensive plays, apparently, I guess. So, again, I think it's the biggest thing for him was just his leadership, handling the team, the organization. I know coming and changing the culture was something they had talked about. It looked like they did a nice job with that as well. So, again, it's good to see. I mean, it just shows everybody just how strong the NFC East is. Well, I mean, you add coaches, they're a viable competitor. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing is that, when you play New York now, they're going to come to play. I think, he grew up from the bottom up. A lot of times guys come in and, they just get opportunities right away. But Sean had to earn his, and so he learned the basics of football from the bottom up. He played well when he was at William & Mary. I know that. And then he actually working with him when I was in Philadelphia on Andy's original staff for 5 seasons, getting to know him. The one thing I'd say is he's a tremendous worker. He does a great job, and he wants to know everything he can about the game. And he's done a nice job in that. I thought he's done a nice job representing the Buffalo Bills. I think the biggest thing, more than anything else, is we're taking a long look at free agency and what we could potentially do in free agency to help ourselves. I know we talked about our own guys that we want to get done specifically now. And see if we can, get those things. As soon as you get those things done, the more positions you can fill in free agency. It takes a lot of pressure off of the draft in terms of what you need to do, what you have to do, what you must do, as much as to the point where you get to what you want to do. That's probably the most important thing. So if we can fill some of those spots coming up, once we get into March and get into free agency, we'll see what happens. Well, I just think it's one of those things where, as we go through this, I think we just need to continue to interview and get to know more about all the coaches. I think we got to continue to do some of the things that we've tried to do as far as the coaches of color in terms of creating more opportunities to get out there. I have a friend who's a businessman in LA, in LA, and we were talking recently about it. And he said, Ron, one thing I always tell my salespeople is you got to get to know your customers. And so if they don't know you, they're not going to trust you. And if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you. And I think that's what we got to do, is create more opportunities for these coaches to be put in front of the decision makers so they know who they are. And now the possibility of getting the opportunity, I think, will increase. And so we've just got to continue to do that as much as we can. About I've been in meetings all morning, so I'm really not sure where you're at, but it's really nice to be here because we're looking for football players.